Hello and welcome to another video log, and this one is just looking at this picture of a leaf I've got here. This was actually taken last year in the autumn, and what I'm going to do is just edit the picture. From looking at this image, I was really thinking of wanting to have a really yellow tone to the leaf, a really yellow color, and then just have like a black and white background. As you can see, this sort of checkered background is actually on. It should actually look black and white, but it isn't when you get close up. From a distance, it does look black and white. There's a couple of things I wanted to change. There's a bit of gunky stuff which I wanted to remove as well, and the image is going to be processed as a HDR image as well. This is the base exposure or 0 exposure, and this will be a +2 and -2 3 image HDR. And that's everything about the image really. So what I did is I started off in Adobe Bridge, and I loaded my image straight into the plugin of HDR effects. I had quite a few other programs running at the time. I didn't actually realize. I was thinking, why is this running so slow? So I just quickly closed them down as well. I don't normally have so much extra things running, but I just finished writing something, so the image is loaded up quite nice. I just sort of changed the exposure, lightened it a little bit at the bottom for the HDR image. And then as we come in, as we come into the image in HDR, I sort of wanted to keep the. I wasn't really worrying about the background so much. I wanted to keep the tone perfect for the leaf. The reason I wasn't worried about the background, if the background was too dark, it was something sort of perfect. So I wanted to sort of make a vignette around the leaf. I don't really like the cropping at the moment, so I wasn't going to do the vignette in HDR effects. I was going to do it out in Photoshop. So you can see I'm just sort of making sure I get the good details in the leaf, not so worrying about the background so much. I then make some curve adjustments. The leaf has this sort of like, I don't know, metallic shine on it for some reason. Probably because of the diffuse light coming down through the leaves above. So once the image was ready, I then loaded it back out, and I loaded it out into Photoshop. In Photoshop, there's a few things I sort of wanted to do. It was actually quite fun in this case. It sort of loaded out back, like I went back to Bridge, and I don't understand why. But click back into Photoshop. I wanted to have it as a smart object. I like have using my HDR images start as a smart object. But then I sort of looked and I had to get rid of this stuff. I looked at a few different ways I'm going to do it. What I do is I create a new layer, and all the editing is then done on this new layer, so it doesn't actually affect the original base image. I tried using the patch tool with content aware. It didn't really work, so then I just got out the clone tool, and I just sort of slowly cloned in different areas. As you can see, I'm sort of working quite methodically, and I keep sampling back and sampling not the same place, but multiple places, and just slowly to build up this sort of what would be like the new content. And I know when you close up here it looks a little bit brown, but everything's going to go to black and white, so the tone doesn't really matter too much, but the pattern is pretty good there. So then what I did is I created that into a smart object, and then cropped my image. I cropped it onto a square because it was going to work really well. It's sort of like centralized when you have the grid of the background. I then was trying to think of how to isolate the leaf. I first of all thought about using the pen tool, but as I was going around, I was actually looking at it, and it was looking a little bit overly complex. When I say overly complex, I was finding it difficult to see the difference between the leaf and actually the background. And because I couldn't see the difference, it became hard for me to actually look to see where I was going to put my path. So I sort of didn't really like that idea. I then thought about using the magnetic lasso tool. I don't really like using it, and once again it proved right. So I just decided I'll just forget about it for the moment, and I just toned the image instead straight away using Channel Mixer. Using the Channel Mixer, I have a few different presets written down for different sort of fox tonings, and this is one of them. This is the Ilford 3200 film. I then added in the curves adjustment layer, really looking to keep the good contrast in this leaf, because the leaf really is the main central part of my image. Then what I did is I loaded up the color balance, and I created my yellow tone for the leaf. When that was done, I added a saturation layer, and then with the saturation layer I had it clipped to the color balance, and then using the color balance layer mask, I then started painting the new color on. I did this with quite a soft brush, also a low opacity, and I wasn't really worrying too much about where I was painting. I sort of didn't, if it went slightly over onto the background, I didn't mind at this point, because I could go around and sort of check it later. I was really just trying to get a good feel. Also, I didn't want to have it an even color, so in some places it's not as even as others, just so it doesn't look like it's a blanket color over the top. Then what I did is I loaded a new layer and added a 50% gray and set it to overlay, and then with a black and white brush I just started darkening areas and lightening areas. As you can see, I just quickly went around and I created like the sort of vignette I wanted in type thing, and I also sort of went around and I darkened specific areas of the leaf. I went back, checked on the saturation and the hue, and on the color balance I added a little bit of red in just so it didn't seem so like such a fake yellow in a way. I then created a vibrance layer just to make it pop really. Once that was done, I went around again, darkening the background. Created a new levels layer, and I placed that on top. This point I didn't actually reduce the noise. It was actually quite a noisy image. And next because I sharpened, I actually wasn't quite sure how I was going to sharpen it. I definitely thought about bunch of mask is the factor way I usually sharpen. But I sort of wanted the leaf sharp and I didn't want the background sharp, so sort of I don't know, think about this. I thought about doing a high pass sharpening, but in doing high pass sharpening, you can sort of mask out what you want. But then I didn't really want to do that either, because high pass sharpening has a sudden effect as well. So actually, in the end, although I went to smart sharpen now, and I was like, don't really like smart sharpen, I never use it. I just duplicated my background layer. I then put the sharpening in. I then removed the noise reduction, and I just masked out what I didn't want to have sharpening. I did it very roughly, just so it just sort of had like a very sort of natural gradients. This is when I sort of look at the image quite big now, just to have a quick look to see how it works, especially with a black frame around it. I went in close and I saw I went over in some places, so I just started removing it. At the same time, also for places where I didn't go over, I didn't actually color it properly, I then started filling it in now. And really, this is now coming up to the final image. Final image actually looks quite nice. I really like the yellow of the leaf, and actually, it doesn't actually look like it's actually been painted on. It looks like it possibly was that sort of yellow color originally. I don't normally make images which are like this with a selective color, but I think in this case the contrast of the yellow with the black and grey background really works. So that's a really great image. Please head over to the blog where you can see the image in full size, and I hope you can watch another video. Bye bye.